Today guys, I'm going to show you a quick and easy recipe that you can make at home. We're going to be making a super quick and easy stir fry, and well, today I kind of have to change some of the ingredients because I actually thought I had some hoisin sauce, and it turns out that I don't. I don't have any. So we're going to be using another sauce to substitute. It's not quite the same, but it'll still work. In any case, if you do enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like and share, and let's get started. I prefer to do all the prep first, and that way it's easier to do the cooking bit later, so it's easier for you guys. And as you can tell, we have our medley of vegetables. If you want, you can slice these into little squares. Since this is small, this onion, I can just slice it down the middle and then slice it again as so. You have little dice cubes. Or you can cut these julienne, which today I think we're going to do so because we're cooking this with noodles, not with rice. And if you have a bell pepper this big, I would recommend using half, not the whole thing, since it's a little big, unless you're going to be using a lot. I also recommend taking off the inner membrane. It just makes everything a lot easier. Alright, and then for the shiitake mushrooms, I'm just going to cut off the stem. And since they're pretty big, I'm going to slice these. If you want, you can leave the ginger whole, but if you don't want a mouthful of ginger, I suggest cutting it up. Now for the green onions, I'm just going to cut off the roots. Going to cut them more or less to about here. These are very small, so I'm just going to take off the first layer since it's starting to turn a little yellow. Now that we cut all the veggies, today I'm going to be using some chicken breast. If you want to substitute that with either beef or pork, be my guest. And if you are going to be using beef or pork, I would suggest to velvet the pork. And if anyone's wondering why the chicken is so orange, it's not because they're dyed or anything or with the editing, it's because they're actually fed corn. And it does change the meat or the color of their skin. Now, before we start, I have a pot of water on just to bring that up to temp while we're going to be stir frying. I'm not using a wok because the majority of you, I'm sure, don't have woks, and I'll show you how to do it in a casserole dish. Once the pan comes up to temp, it's nice and hot. You're going to add some oil to it. Yes, this is olive oil. I live in the Mediterranean. And we're going to saute some of the onions first and the peppers. I'm going to add a little bit of star anise to this just to make this a little sweet because we don't have anything else that's super sweet. Going to add the mushrooms in. The smaller you cut your veggies, the faster they'll cook. I cut these a little bigger than what I normally do today just so it looks a little nicer on camera because normally I cut these like much smaller so it cooks super fast. Now when the water comes up to a boil, we're going to add in the noodles. We're using Soba noodles today. These are super delicious and tasty. Even Jamie likes using these with ramen, remember?
That's not even ramen. That's soba noodle. A completely different type of noodle. Hiya.
With these noodles, this is basically like one per person, but I always add a little more because for me, this is not quite enough one per person. Since we got too much color on these vegetables, that means that the bottom of this pan is going to be a little burnt, and I don't want that flavor in our sauce. So I have to take this out, we're gonna clean it and use it again. And now we're gonna add in the chicken. Gonna add the garlic and ginger in as well. The veggies back in. We're gonna add a little bit of light soy sauce. And we're gonna add some black pepper sauce to this. The reason why I didn't add any salt in the beginning was because the ingredients already have salt. Soy sauce has salt. Whoops, the pepper sauce has salt. So I don't need to add a lot more. Now, if you want to make this a little more saucy, you can add a little bit of chicken stock to this and then add some cornstarch to thicken it. Otherwise, if you want to leave it a little dry, that's fine. Me, I'm going to add a little bit of chicken stock. This is still a little on the dry side, so you don't need to add cornstarch to this since it's still going to thicken up. And right now, if the noodles are ready, you can add them in and give it a toss. Otherwise, these noodles would get super sticky. And if you don't do that, you have to add a little bit of like soy sauce. You have to add a little bit of sesame oil or something to it to prevent them from sticking. And then if you want some cilantro, we can add a little bit of that at the end. To be honest, I think I'm just gonna leave these whole just for the thumbnail and everything because they're quite small. They're quite nice. You see, this is starting to like bloom. And that's it, guys. This is a super easy, tasty, and delicious recipe Now, normally, as I said, I make this a little differently, and it does annoy me because I was like, for certain, I knew that I had a bottle of hoisin in the cupboard. At least I could make something for you today. Feel free to experiment with this. This is a super flexible recipe. It's a stir fry, so do what you want. It is a little fusion because we're using Japanese noodles as well, soba noodles. If you want to use rice, use rice. As I always say, make it as easy as you want at home. So I'll leave you guys the recipe down below, like a recipe that you can follow, and from there, change it and modify it how you see fit. Now I know a lot of you also would like me to taste it just to see. Normally I taste as I cook, so I know how this is, but I haven't used this sauce before, so, you know, let's see. Get a little bit of chicken. Okay. It's a little spicy because the sauce is a little bit spicy, not much, but a little bit. If you want to make this spicier, I also suggest adding some like red chili flakes or some green peppers. It'll make it really spicy if you want that. If not, add a little bit of sriracha or nothing at the end, especially if you're making it for more people and they can't take the spice. All right, this is really tasty. I'm gonna eat this now. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to give it a like and a share, but if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so and check out my other recipes and content on my channel as well. Until next time, take care.